The era of fitness trackers is over. Smart rings have arrived. These will replace them, and deservedly so, since they can do everything a proper fitness tracker can. However, they are much smaller, much lighter, and much more comfortable to wear. So in this video, I'm going to introduce you to a smart ring. Let's get started. Alright, so the subject of today's video is the Rogbid SR09 smart ring. And just so you know the order, first I'll talk about the exterior, then the specifications, the app, and finally I'll share my experiences and the measurements. Let's quickly get through the beginning so we can get to the important part. So regarding the exterior, I can say that the manufacturer makes this ring in 6 different sizes. Naturally, this way it will fit all kinds of finger sizes. The real uniqueness of the ring, by the way, lies precisely in its exterior, since the manufacturer didn't go with the usual minimalist simple design, but instead they say this is a vintage style. And there's actually something to that, because this silver gray pattern design looks really good. It really looks like a piece of jewelry, so it's not just some tech gadget you wear on your finger to look cool, but basically it's like a regular ring. I really like that. They're really nice, really comfortable. What's really important about this is that the manufacturer has rounded off all the edges, so it's very comfortable to wear, and the sensors inside don't stick out, which again makes it very comfortable to wear. Its weight, mass, and size are all just like those of a traditional metal ring. So basically, you can wear it just like a normal, slightly thicker, stylish vintage metal ring. You can buy it without a case, in which case you only get a charging cable. Or you can buy it with this very cute little charging case. This is a magnetic charging case. Of course, it also has a built-in battery. When you put the ring inside, a magnet snaps it into place. You don't have to adjust it. It aligns itself with the charging connector and immediately starts charging. It can fully charge in a few hours, and according to the manufacturer, it can be used for 4 to 5 days on a single charge with normal use. So from this perspective, I think it's definitely great. In the written article, I also described what kind of chip it has, how big the battery is, and things like that. In the video description on YouTube, you'll find a link to the written article. If you're interested in the details, read it there. Regarding the specifications, what I definitely need to mention is what else we can measure with the ring. It features blood oxygen level measurement, heart rate monitoring, blood pressure measurement, sleep tracking, and a step counter. There are also 8 types of sports modes, covering important activities like running, cycling, jump rope, climbing, dancing, and I'm not sure what else is included alongside these. The point is the most important features are here. We can choose from 8 different sports modes, and according to the manufacturer, the software launches unique measurement methods for each sport mode when we select them. I also consider it very important, although for some reason I wasn't able to set it up myself, that we can add our family members to the application. This basically means that if we have an elderly parent or grandparent, we can get them a ring like this, and then we can monitor their health status through our own app on our phone. We can see their heart rate, how many steps they've taken, how they slept, and so on and so on. In my opinion, this is a very useful feature. For some reason, I couldn't get it to work, but according to online reviews, it can be set up. I don't know what I messed up. The point is, supposedly this works. The ring works for 5 days on a single charge. The manufacturer claims it lasts 10 days. I don't think so, but I can confirm 5 days myself. It definitely works for 5 days, even if you use it for sports and need to track measurements. By the way, you get 24-hour monitoring, so it periodically checks your blood pressure, your pulse, and everything else. It logs all this data in the app, and of course, you can review it later. So let's move on to the app. Naturally, it's available for free download. This is the Smart Health app, and it's available for both iOS and Android. The app itself looks almost exactly like every other app you would typically get with a smart bracelet or an activity tracker. There's a main home page where we can easily see the measured results. The most recent measurements, such as blood oxygen, blood pressure, heart rate, step count, and also sleep. All of these are displayed clearly and in an organized way. Of course, you can open these up, go into them, and check the weekly and monthly measurements as well. So these data are being logged. There's a graph where you can see whether there are any changes or not. The second tab is for sports. That's where you can select the different sport modes. I chose cycling. That's the one I tried out. On the third tab, you can add relatives and acquaintances, and on the fourth tab, you'll find the settings. The application itself is available in Hungarian, by the way. The translation is relatively good and it's easy to use. If someone has seen an app like this before, they definitely won't have any trouble with it. But even if you haven't seen anything like this before, I don't think you'll have any trouble with it because it's really a very simple thing. You could say it's absolutely bare bones and simplified to the extreme. So you see the essentials on it and there are no extra features. I have only one problem with the application, which I felt was a flaw. While exercising, specifically while cycling, even though the app uses the phone's location services, it still didn't show me riding on the road. So when I traveled from point A to point B, according to the app, I covered the distance in a straight line on the map rather than following the actual road. So that's pretty much it for the app. And now let's move on to my experiences because there are quite a few things I need to talk about. To start with, let's talk right away about how to choose the ring. As I mentioned, there are 6 different sizes, and the manufacturer provides both the diameter and the circumference for each size. You'll need both measurements because you have to measure your finger precisely. The manufacturer says to take a piece of string and then carefully wrap it around your finger, making sure it fits snugly and comfortably, and mark the exact spot where the 2 ends meet with a marker or pen. After that, straighten out the string and measure the distance between the 2 marks, and you'll find out exactly what ring circumference you need for your finger. I tried to measure this as precisely and accurately as possible, and at first I measured my ring finger. I pulled the string quite tightly just to be sure so that the size wouldn't be off, just to make absolutely certain. I measured it, and it turned out that I had to order the largest size ring, which really surprised me because I always thought my fingers were quite slim, but I figured that Chinese people's fingers are probably even slimmer or smaller than mine. So, well, I need the largest ring then. I went ahead and ordered it. It turned out that despite my efforts to measure precisely, the ring didn't fit my ring finger, but rather my middle finger, and even there it was just barely right, almost too big even for that. I can safely say that I could have ordered 1 or maybe even 2 sizes smaller. Fortunately, I have 10 fingers, so I managed to find one among them that the ring fit just right. As I mentioned, the ring is very comfortable, very easy to wear, and as I said, the sensors do not stick out of it. The manufacturer says that you should put the ring on so that the sensors are positioned on the underside of your finger because the skin is thinner there and the measurements will be more accurate. There's no problem with that so far. I can put the ring on so that the sensors really do end up on the underside. The problem is that this ring, well, it can obviously rotate on your finger just like any other ring you wear, but there's no marking on the outside of the ring to show where the sensor is at any given moment. And indeed, when the ring rotates, the accuracy of the measurement changes as well. The measurement result can vary by about 10 to 15% simply because the sensor isn't positioned at the bottom of the finger. So sometimes you just have to check whether the sensor is actually underneath or wonder why it isn't. Well, they really could have come up with a better solution for this too, some kind of marking, a little dot or anything they could have put on the ring so that just by looking at it from the outside, I'd know whether it's positioned correctly on my finger or not. Of course, I also took some measurements, and for control, I used an upper arm blood pressure monitor. I measured both my blood pressure and my pulse. I'll start with the good news. The step counter works really well, the sleep monitor works really well, and the pulse measurement is within the margin of error compared to the upper arm blood pressure monitor, so it only differs by 2 or 3 units, either up or down from what the blood pressure monitor measured. So far, so good. But there's also a blood pressure measurement feature that the ring can do. In the app, there's a setting where you can calibrate the blood pressure measurement. This means you have to measure your blood pressure and set it in the app, then save it. I don't really know what this is for, but the fact is that after I set up this calibration in the app, from then on, the ring measured data that was roughly the same as the blood pressure monitor. Honestly, this could be a trick, or maybe the thing really does work well. Because if I set what the blood pressure monitor is measuring just once, then the Ring's app doesn't really have to measure much. It just goes a little above or below, and so it will pretty much always show a good value. But from this, it's still not entirely clear to me what exactly would happen in the long run. Say, for example, if I drank as many as 15 cups of coffee in a single day, whether the app would still show what it considers to be a normal value or not. I didn't dare to try that. That being said, since I know well that activity trackers we wear on our wrists don't really measure blood pressure, or at least they don't measure it accurately, I would be very surprised if this Ring could do something that a wrist-worn activity tracker cannot. So I do have some doubts about this. That said, as you can see in the inserted video here, the measurement result was, well, accurate. Let's just put it that way. But I'll say it again. I can't tell whether this was because I did the calibration and set my exact blood pressure, or if it would have measured accurately anyway. So, What can I say in summary about the Rogbid SR09? Well, I can say that I really enjoy wearing this ring because I think it looks really cool. And I might even wear it even if it didn't measure anything because I really like it and it honestly looks great. And the icing on the cake is that it actually does a great job with sleep monitoring. Its heart rate measurement is very accurate, the step counter works well, so basically it measures these basic values really well. What I haven't talked about yet is the price. And well, you might think that a ring like this, since we're talking about a real technological marvel here, fitting so much into such a tiny ring, batteries, a Bluetooth module, sensors, everything is packed into this ring. You might think that this is a relatively expensive thing, and yes, the more expensive options can indeed cost in the hundreds of thousands. However, this ring doesn't cost 100,000 forints, nor 50,000, nor even 20,000, because with a coupon, they're practically throwing it at us for around 11,000 forints, including the charging case, which I think is a very good price. So if you'd like to have a smart device that looks like a piece of jewelry and can be worn almost invisibly, you can buy it for 11,000 forints. I'll put the link in the description on YouTube where you can purchase it, and the coupon code will be there too, so you can get it at this price. Grab it now. Go ahead and buy it. If you like the video, you can choose something else to watch from the other two videos appearing next to me. Check them out. Oh, and make sure to subscribe to the channel because very few of you are subscribed. Take care, look after yourselves, and if it doesn't rain, I'll really be back next week with scooter tests. Until then, be good and take care of yourselves. Bye.